yeah. Oh, yay. Geography now, Serbia. Sorry I haven't uploaded this week. I've been busy at work. If you're following my community posts on YouTube, then you know that I was really busy and I had to postpone the video. Then I clicked on the video. I opened it just like 4 seconds ago and I see that the video is 27 minutes long. It's probably one of the longest geographies nows that I've ever seen. And with my reaction added to that, that's gonna be a 40-50 minute video, so no. I'm gonna split this video in 2 parts. A new part out, which will be uploaded not tomorrow, but let's see, today it's Sunday. That is gonna be uploaded on Tuesday. And also commented that I should get the rakia out, which I did. So this is an old bottle whiskey, but it's filled with rakia because my grandpa brews his own rakia and he just puts it in, his own bottles. I got myself double shot glasses because, true Balkan style, we do the small PP ones, but we're doing the big PP ones today. So double shots it is. And I poured myself a glass already and someone said they're gonna be doing shots in the video as well, so I'm like, okay, let's prepare myself then. In the video yet, so this is the first time I'm seeing it. I just checked out the comments and everything before actually starting, so that's why I know this.
Alright, out of all my subscribers, I think the ones that have been the most patient have been the Serbians. Ever since I made the Albania episode and had the pleasant experience of realizing the ramifications of making any kind of content pertaining to the Balkan sub-region, Serbians have been emailing me for years wanting to help with the Serbia episode. And I get it. Serbia has quite a polarized reputation in Europe. It's kind of like, hey, show him some respect. Do you remember what happened in the 90s?
Yeah, I do. He was very cordial and polite.
He was not cordial to me.
I like yogurt.
Oh, hush, Albania. Serbia's cool, plus Hoxha was like 10 times worse than anything the Serbs did to you.
You helped Hoxha at one time.
Yeah, but then you ditched us for China, and that didn't even last, and you were left isolated.
I mean, he did kind of kill our Archduke starting World War I, but, teaming up with the Austrians was kind of weird to begin with anyways, so.
Those fucking Serbians. It is just a coincidence that the shot glass is from Croatia because I couldn't find another one, so not to trigger any people if anyone was wondering.
Oh. Actually, that was a Bosnian Serb from our side, but basically the same thing. Oh, Serb Metallica, right. Oh yeah, great band.
Yeah, quite a reputation.
Montenegro.
It's time to learn geography now!
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. So as you know, I love having real people from the countries we cover in these videos. And with that, say hi to my friend Ivan.
Zdravo, brate!
Fun fact, we actually went to high school. We didn't hang out at all.
Not at all.
Then we bump into each other like, what, 10 years later, 15 years later?
15 years later, and he remembered that I was Serbian. He said, guess what, I'm doing a video on Serbia. Do you want to be in it? And I was like, sure.
Ivan, explain, who are you? What are you?
Both my parents are from Belgrade, and I have my dual citizenship.
And you're fluent, right? You speak it?
I do.
All right, Ivan, you ready for this episode?
Yes, I am.
It's like we're walking into a death trap.
Yeah, I'm Serbian. It's what we do.
So get ready, we're gonna serve you up a great new episode.
It's like walking into a death trap. Yup.
Alright, we barely started the episode and already we're gonna jump into the most controversial part of the video, Serbia's domain.
Almost none of it makes sense, and everyone just gets mad.
I don't know, I made the Israel and North Korea episodes, we can probably handle this. First of all,
the country is landlocked in the heart of the South European region known as the Balkans. The country is divided into 29 districts, with the capital and largest city, Belgrade, located in the upper central part of the country, right on the Danube River. This is where you can find the largest and busiest airport, Nikola Tesla International. The second largest and busiest airport, though, is actually in the third largest city, Niš, Constantine the Great International, located in the southeastern part of the country. Roadways traverse every section of the country, the busiest highway being the A1. Railways are everywhere as well, divided into main lines and branch lines. Now, Serbia has a lot of territorial anomalies. If you look at the Danube River border with Croatia, you will see the river has shifted flow directions numerous times over the decades, which creates newly formed mini Penne enclave river islands, the most contested ones being Šarengrad and Vukovar. Some islands are technically not even claimed by either side, which certain cheeky individuals see as an opportunity to jump in and claim for themselves as founders of a new micronation, like what happened with Siga Island and this Czech guy that came in and made his own country called Liberland.
Yeah, this is actually a thing. A Czech guy came in, claimed this part of land, and tried to really found a new nation on top of it. Like if the Balkans are messy already, random Czech guys coming in like, yeah, I see opportunities. But yeah, it's pretty interesting how Mother Nature is creating all these new pockets, to say so.
Later, Croatian authorities came and kicked him out. From there, you have pretty much the same situation on the Drina River border with Bosnia and Herzegovina. Speaking of which, in the southwest part of the country, you have the pterodactyl-looking panhandle near Mistrar that is only accessible by one narrow roadway. And a little further off, you have the Medurice Sastavci Bosnian enclave, but it's inhabited by Bosnian Serbs, so yeah.
Yeah, I told you, not easy.
Not easy.
Now, here's where things get a little interesting. The 29 districts are kind of separated into 3 provinces made up of 5 statistical regions. The northern districts are collectively known as Vojvodina, and this area has a level of autonomy, as it is the most diverse part of Serbia with 6 official languages, and about a third of the population comes from 26 different ethnic groups. They have their own government, assembly, and
It's like a mini Switzerland. That's how I would describe Vojvodina, because it has so many different people. Like, if you go to Switzerland, there's so many expats people working there, so many languages being spoken. It's like, oh.
Novi Sad, the second largest city, and maintain their own infrastructure, science, education, and culture laws. From there, you have the central Serbia area, which has 3 other statistical regions: Belgrade, Šumadija and western Serbia, and southern and eastern Serbia.
And now, folks, here's the really complicated part.
You've all been waiting for it.
If you ask the Serbian government and many Serbians, they will consider this last area as part of Serbia, known to them as Kosovo and Metohija. Kosovo, which comes from the Serbian word for blackbird, and Metohija from Greek, meaning land of monasteries. The thing is, this area is about 90% ethnically Albanian, and after the fall of Yugoslavia, this area has been a hotbed of secessionist movement and controversy. And Serbian law, on paper, treats Kosovo as another part of Serbia. After the Kosovo War in 1999, the UN Security Council established Resolution 1244, which temporarily put Kosovo under interim administration under the UN, but technically placed Kosovo's status as a meaningful, autonomous, and self-administering region of Serbia's claim until all parties could agree on a resolution to move forward. The problem is, decades later, there have been no resolutions made. Legislatively, Serbia has almost no rule or influence on the area, and in 2008, Kosovo declared independence, but the Serbian government did not recognize it. It was even taken to the International Court of Justice, which ruled the declaration as not violating international law. Today, there is still a divided response from the international community. The recognition numbers tend to fluctuate over the years, some joining, some withdrawing, but as of 2020, there are officially 97 countries that recognize Kosovo as a sovereign state, about half of the UN countries. However, to be admitted into the UN, you need a 2/3 majority vote, and if any of the main 5 nations veto, then the state in question cannot be approved. In this case, Russia and China have exercised their veto power.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And the other day I was speaking on a live stream to a Serbian YouTuber called Bilja Benjak. Fucking hell, brain crash. Sorry. So I talked to him about this topic, and I asked him actually what he thinks about it. And I've never had someone tell me such detailed history. He literally knew all the years and dates on what happened in Kosovo throughout history, like from the top of his mind. Like, he really is interested in that topic. And he said that, like, there are 1,600 something holy places, Serbian or let's say Orthodox Christian places throughout Kosovo, and there's like literally no Albanian or almost no Albanian history there. So I of course, the man that I am, I went out on Google and started Googling it, and turns out that a large part of the stuff that he's saying is true. There are some Illyrian pieces of history there, but Illyrian is like the very early Albanian stuff, and it's nothing compared to the amount of holy stuff from the Serbs and the amount of history that Serbia has there. So I kind of get the point. If they're gonna give Kosovo to Albania just like that, what stops other regions from claiming or declaring independence as well? That would be the same as the Republic of Srpska declaring to be an own independent state or something within Bosnia, or just separate from Bosnia. It's almost the same thing when it comes to history and yada yada yada. Some people might not agree with this comparison, but I don't know. If that's the case, and if I'm summing everything up, and if you look at an international recognition, it is not internationally recognized as an independent country. So I cannot say it's an independent country since it's not internationally recognized, as you just heard from Barbie himself. So the people were asking, what do you think of Kosovo? I don't think anything of Kosovo. It's just a region. I don't really care about the topic as it is, because it would trigger similar discussions on other places in the Balkans, but also in the world when it comes to this setting. So I don't really care, but as long as it's not internationally recognized and it hasn't been confirmed by like international law, etc., then I cannot agree with it as well, because international law, international recognition, the rules that we have are the things that keep structure in our world. So I agree with that. And with that said, continue to the video.
That's that.
Explaining how things got this way will take forever. But long story short, you have to go back to Yugoslavia.
All the Slavic states of the Balkans, except for Bulgaria, were all a part of the former nation known as Yugoslavia. You've probably heard of it.
Now, at the turn of the 20th century, Serbians and Albanians were about equal in population in the Kosovo Metohian region. But during Tito years, it was like,
well, we lost a ton of men from those wars, and the mineral and coal mines aren't going to extract themselves. We need a cheap labor force. I'll just bring in some more Albanians.
And from there, the Albanian population grew even more, and by the end of the century, made up over 90%.
in
I'll just bring in some more Albanians. I see the Montenegro guy. Yeah, okay, this is good stuff.
Yugoslav Republic times, all the ethnic groups got along relatively well and at some point really did function like a pan-Slavic unit.
In the last years, though, it was kind of like...
Comparatively, life is all right. I mean, we have basic life necessities, subsidized Medicare, and school is not bad.
Hey, did you hear Tito died?
Oh, I'm bringing back the motherland.
Frumpst, which new countries ceded and became independent within the following years.
So, of course, as they were witnessing that, Kosovo tried to jump in and it was like...
I mean, look, Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, I mean, they all did it. Why can't I?
Because, dude, you have always been an integral part of Serbia. It was the birthplace of our orthodoxy, a key part to the Serbian identity. Our most sacred monasteries and churches are there.
Well, if you love the land so much, why did you sell so much of it to us Albanians and deliberately bring us in? Plus, Albanians have inhabited the Balkan Peninsula for millennia too. You're not the only ones.
Are you seriously gonna go back to that Illyrian thing again?
Yeah, I am, because we are descended from the Illyrians.
That was just a theory and a weakly supported one. And even if you were descended from them, they live mostly...
Not only like the Albanians might have been part of Illyria and Illyrians, weakly supported as he said, but the most people who were actually Illyrians were the Croatians and the Bosnians. Bosnia was first inhabited by the Illyrians, like the first real people were the Illyrians in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
On the Dalmatian coast on the Adriatic.
Well, where do you think we came from? We didn't just pop up out of nowhere, and even so, it still predates the Slavic migration period.
Within the Balkans as a whole, maybe yes. But within the Kosovo subregion, not a chance.
Okay, oh my god, okay, you know what? Everybody's breaking away. Guess I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I
No.
am. No,
No.
yeah, okay. UN. Yeah, we just did that skit. For what it's...
You're gonna bring, no, you're not. UN! The safe ticket, safe haven to all the problems. UN, please help. Oh my god.
worth, I wrote that skit based off of things that you guys, the Serbian and Kosovo Albanian geography peeps, gave me information. I wrote it off of that, so it's your fault.
Alright, well, so today's day and age, Serbs live in isolated pockets throughout Kosovo as minorities.
I actually got an email from geography Tamara, who is an anomaly. She's actually half Serbian, half Albanian. She goes to Kosovo all the time. Here's her explaining the experience.
Hi, geography peeps. I'm Tamara from Serbia. Actually, I'm 50% Albanian because my father is Albanian, and I have been to both sides. People, normal people that are not involved in politics and war stuff, they're trying to move forward. I pretty much felt welcomed. I spoke only Serbian because that is my native language and I don't speak any word of Albanian, unfortunately. They were like, wow, you're from Belgrade, wow, say hello to Belgrade, I used to live in Belgrade, etc. As long as we are normal and as long as we speak normally between each other, there will be no problems. People are trying to live normally, and that's all.
Thanks, Tamara. Well, that's enough for now. Some notable sites of interest you might...
Kinda goes for the entire Balkans. It's mostly like political bullshit that's going on, but most people, like real people in everyday life, they don't give a fuck. They just wanna like live a normal life, and they're struggling having that. So they are more focused on the struggles than giving a fuck about territory and politics. That's true.
Want to check out if you go to Serbia include
Petrovardin Fortress, the Skull Tower of
Been
Niš, the Nikola Tesla Museum, the Krupaj Spring, Drvengrad Timber Village, these ruins of the Yugoslav Army headquarters,
Been
Tito's
there.
grave, Drina River.
Been there as well. There's still a lot of these things that he's saying that I haven't been to. So, brings me to a crazy topic idea. Once I move to Switzerland and I have my life a bit on the road again, to say so, I planned on doing like one mega road trip through the Balkan countries, or to do multiple in a couple of years and then handle one country at a time and visit all the great and nice spots that they have. Let me know if you think that would be interesting. Let's continue.
Rock house.
And probably the most iconic landmark of Serbia, the Church of St. Sava. Oh, and also, Ivan, you were talking about splavs. What are those?
Splavovi are pretty much
floating clubs and bars.
River clubs, nightclubs. If you ever go to Serbia, be sure to check them out. And they're all on the rivers.
Oh, and speaking of water, that brings us to the next segment, the... Okay, here's the easy part of the episode, I guess, right? I mean, we're just gonna talk about land, resources, wildlife, and so on. You can't really argue about that, right?
Oh, I'm sure we can find something to argue about.
First of all, Serbia lies right at the crossroads of Central Europe and the Balkan Peninsula. Essentially, there are two main topographic regions, the flat Pannonian Basin in the north half, which is basically this entire plain surrounded by a bowl-shaped perimeter. This is the flattest part of the country and with the most fertile land where the majority of agriculture can be found. From there, the south part of the country is made up of minor mountain chains, Kopalnik, Zlatibor, Serbian Carpathians, and Balkan Mountains, which is where you can also find the tallest point within non-disputed Serbia, Mijor, at about 2,200 meters high, which is split between them and Bulgaria. However, if you are a person that stands on the Serbia side of the Kosovo dispute, then you would probably say Velika Rudoka, or as the Albanians call it, Maja Enjeriut, in the far south is the highest peak at over 2,600 meters.
Yeah, there you go. We found something you could argue about.
I told you.
Yeah, there you go. We found something. I told you, bitch. He's like, fuck, represent Serbia. Let's go.
This mountainous area harbors the largest forest zones, national parks, and forest reserves, as well as caves and karst systems in Serbia, including the largest cave open to the public, Resava Cave near Jelovac, or the...
Whoa, that actually looks pretty impressive. I would want to visit all of that.
Oddly shaped Devil's Town, the Voljavaroš rock formation, with weird capped spires created by volcanic activity a long time ago. The country has a ton of rivers, almost all of which drain into the mighty Danube, the longest river and the largest river that makes up part of the border with Croatia and Romania. The longest river fully within Serbia, though, would be the Morava, which flows northward from the southern highlands. Due to the configuration of the terrain, Serbia doesn't have many large natural lakes, the largest being Vlasina in the south, which is technically a semi-man-made reservoir, only about 10 kilometers long. The largest man-made lake, though, would be the Iron Gates, which is essentially a reservoir created by the Iron Gate dams that serve power to both Serbia and Romania. The country is subject to occasional seismic activity, mostly in the south, with mild earthquakes usually reaching no higher than 6 on the Richter scale.
That's about it for the natural side of things, and there's so much more that goes on into it.
Yeah, and with that, it's time for our triple shot of espresso break from this Geography Now mug, more of which you can get at geographynow.com.
Serbians do love coffee.
Yeah.
See, he knows me already so well.
Noah, take it away.
Alright, let's get to it, shall we?
Ooh,
as far as
smart
natural
time.
landscape, Serbia has lots of intriguing hidden gems, such as the Ubac Gorge and river that twists into sharp hairpin turns. The Tisa River has that cool phenomenon in which mayflower insects come to mate for one day and die. For what it's worth though, Serbia is an agricultural powerhouse. The abundance of rivers and fresh water make over 2/3 of the country arable, and about 1/6 of the population is involved in farming. They are today the
Speaking of water,
third largest producers of raspberries in the world after Russia and Mexico, and the third largest plum producer after China and Romania. Today, their economy is more heavily centered around energy, machinery mining, and industry, mostly in the automotive parts sector, which alone makes up about 1/5 of all export earnings. The country has notable reserves of oil, gas, and the 5th largest known deposits of coal.
yeah, that's true. But Serbia also has the most potential to go to green energy, but their presidency and their politicians rather invest in coal since it's like old school and big and people can see it, it's physical, and there's a lot of like older or old school people in Serbia who just want to see the smoke coming from the factories and you know that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you look at the possible amounts of green energy that Serbia could produce, it would be insane if they actually wanted to invest more time and money into that. But I mean, I'm not a politician, so I can't really, you know, change anything about that. But I think that most Serbians who've done research into this would agree or know what I'm talking about.
Tourism has been relatively more difficult for them compared to other European countries. But with cheap prices and countless places to check out, Serbia has been voted the #1 emerging travel destination in Europe. Some hotspots are the remote nature reserves and outdoors. And with that, here's our animal correspondent, Gary Harlow.
Our animal correspondent.
Oh, that would have been sick.
Gary Harlow here! In Serbia, for one, Serbia has 72 natural reserves. The mountainous regions are home to many of the 90 plus species of mammals, like voles, otters, badgers, grey wolves, Eurasian lynx, and brown bears. 380 species of birds.
His accent is just fucking perfect. But yeah, and just not only that, but like in the entire Balkan region, nature is still like really untouched. And there's a lot of wildlife which I really enjoy. It's just one of those pieces in Europe where animals and the world is still, let's say, healthy when it comes to wildlife.
Me found here as well. Species like storm pestrels, egrets, storks, osprey, griffin, vultures, and the national animal, the European eagle. Fun fact, the country has over 30 species of bats alone. Many say have played a role in creating the legends of vampires, which also originated Orlando Bloom's here, which also originated here in Serbia as well. Well, that's all for me.
Thanks, Caleb. I mean, Gary, whatever. Moving on. All right, time to end this segment as we always do. Food. Serbia follows the Balkan style of cuisine, so a lot of the food we are about to mention can be found in other countries around Serbia, but with their own versions or twists on them. Some of the dishes you guys suggested we mention include things like, this is where we gotta get out the pronunciations, but alas,
You do not have to read anything that's in parentheses.
pechenye, wedding cabbage stew, ivar, white bean soup, gibanica, Serbian-style pork rinds, barbecue meat stew. There's a lot of Turkish-influenced foods that came in from Ottoman times like sarma or Austro-Hungarian-influenced dishes like krofen, two of which are actually probably considered the national dishes. Chavapi and Kalan schnitzels. And don't forget the most important thing, a shot of rakia, something probable to unite all...
Uh-oh, the rakia. Živjeli.
all South Slavs, and they all love it. And speaking of the Slavic culture, that brings us to...
Thank you, Noah. Yeah, rakia. The best kind is never bought. It's always homemade, right?
Domaća, that's how you say homemade.
We're at the halfway mark with the video, so I'm gonna cut in a break right here. So if you guys enjoyed the video so far, I have been enjoying, especially because of the Kosovo part, which a lot of you guys have been asking me about as well, and they gave a real good like whole story about it from both sides, and you've heard my opinion as well. I kind of agree with the international community. If it's not recognized, it's not recognized. That's it. No more words needed. So if you guys liked the video, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you want to see the second video. Second video will be up on Tuesday. So I thank you guys for watching this video with me so far and reacting to it, of course, because I'm a Bosnian, so I kind of look at it differently and I see other things. And of course, I can have a different opinion. But so far, I've been actually agreeing a lot. So I see you guys in the next video. Ciao.
Perfect.